Howdy folks, greetings and welcome. And those of you that follow me on Instagram would have seen this week that we've had some insane weather along the south coast of England. But yeah, those of you that saw my Instagram post would see the devastation that it caused in my garden. I'm going to show the before and after photos here. As you can see. But all jokes aside, I mean, my house is a little bit inland from the seafront, but Brighton seafront was absolutely battered on Friday. I'm going to show some videos from a CCTV camera along the seafront. Look at that, I've never seen anything like that in my life. Absolutely battered the seafront. Those waves are insane. But anyway, onward with today's video. Now, last week I've done a video, 10 reasons why you shouldn't vote Conservative, and a lot of you guys liked it, so I thought I'd do something in a similar vein. But today I'm going to do 10 reasons why people vote Conservative, and specifically the working class, because, you know, in my humble opinion, they're always going to be voting against their interests. But, you know, you can disagree with me, you can disagree, but let's just go into the reasons why people vote. And I want to talk about specifically this government. I'm not going back to Thatcher or anything like that. Why people have voted for this specific Tory government that we've had for the last 12 years. Why are people voting for them? Why are the working class voting for them? Let's go back right to the beginning. I think it all started, the rise of the Conservative Party, in 2008 with the financial crisis, which was just completely blamed on Labour. Conservatives won the 2010 election predominantly, I think, on that, the fact that you can't trust Labour. You know, that's where they stole all those, you know, previous Blair voting centrist voters. You know, they just put it across that the financial crisis was due to Labour overspending. The global banking financial crisis was blamed on Labour for overspending. I don't know, maybe they did overspend. That's a topic for another video. I mean, you can definitely debate whether Labour should have bailed out the bankers. That's definitely a debate. But we're just talking about the reasons why Conservatives won, and that election was led on not being able to trust Labour on money and trusting the Tories. Now, with hindsight, as we can see over the last 12 years, Tory borrowing far overwhelms what Labour were borrowing before. But, you know, we're talking about the time. We're talking about the time. We're not talking about hindsight. So, yeah, that was number one. So then when you get into 2010, you know, they only just got it anyway. I mean, if you remember, it was a Lib Dem coalition, so they only just sneaked it through. But 2010, austerity starts. Now, basically, austerity, as you know, is getting the poor people in the UK to pay for the 2008 global financial crisis, with slashing of public spending, slashing of benefits, and in such a short amount of time, a couple of years, people are feeling this, and it's hitting them hard, and the poorer are getting poorer, and it's having a massive effect. Now, not only did the Tories want to get the poorest in this country to pay for the 2008 banking crisis, but they demonised them while doing it, and that comes on to number two. The demonisation of people on benefits, which happened in the early 2010. You remember headlines like this in all the newspapers: scroungers, benefits. Then you had your TV programmes come out like Benefit Street and Benefit Scroungers. You know, back in the day before Netflix and even the sort of rise of YouTube, really, where most people just had your 4 channels to watch your TV, and this crap was just pumped into people's living rooms every single day.
In Benefits Britain, the dole queue may be shrinking, but the welfare bill is getting bigger. Last year, 117 billion was paid out.
And it's so easy to fall into this trap. You know, you see that 117 billion spent on benefits. Yeah, you're not really taking into account the people that actually deserve those benefits, the disabled people, the people that are ill, that have lost their jobs, the people that generally need that money. You're just thinking scroungers, 117 billion.
26-year-old Hayley lives in a 3-bed council house with her husband David, her 4 kids Tyler, Alfie, Lacey and Esme, and their dog Hayley has been on the dole her whole life and isn't thinking about coming off soon.
And it is just so easy to fall into this narrative. It really is, because you know what, I don't like people that scrounge, that live off the state and they could work and they don't work, and I don't like that. But is it in my top 50 of problems in the country when you've got politicians giving dodgy deals to their donors, when you've got corporations not paying their fair amount of tax, when you've got MPs with expenses of ridiculous amounts of money, that's the benefit cheats, the 20 quid extra a week on the social or whatever, doesn't enter into my top 100 of priorities. But it's an easy thing for the average day person to understand, because the average day person doesn't understand the world of the rich and the financial bankers and the politics of Westminster and stuff. They don't understand that world. But the world that they do understand is working class folks. And when you're working hard every single day, paying your taxes, and they show Sandy down the road that's living off the social, getting her 50 quid a week or whatever for nothing, for sitting on her arse watching morning TV, you can understand that. You can understand that, because that's your world. And that was just such a massive thing in the early 2010s. We were having this stuff shoved down my throat, and so many people fell for it.
But what's life really like when you depend on the welfare and family life is paid for by the state? This is Benefit Scroungers.
I know members of my family fell for it. Every time I go round, and specifically one member of my family that I think was always going on about scroungers and benefit. I'm like, is that really the problem of society, really? But anyway, that leads on to the next one, which is obviously then the rise of UKIP. Sort of 2013 onwards, the rise of UKIP, because of course when people are poor and when people are suffering and when people have got no money, they need people to blame, and they were blaming the benefit cheats. But then that leads nicely on to, don't a few of those foreigners take some of those checks from the social as well? Those bloody foreigners, foreigners coming over, they're using all our hospitals, they're using all our schools, they're taking up all the housing. Why have we got so many foreigners over here? Well, we've got free movement in the EU, and that just... Nigel Farage, the rise of Nigel Farage, I guess, would be the main point of the Tory. why people voted Tory. And of course, people voted UKIP in their droves, which brought on the Brexit referendum. So in 2015, the Conservatives had to put the referendum in their manifesto with the rise of UKIP, because they knew that they'd lose so many votes if they didn't. So that was the next point, UKIP and Brexit as a whole. So after Brexit, you then have Jeremy Corbyn. Now, whether you like the guy or not, and I voted for him, I would have loved a Jeremy Corbyn government, but whether you liked him or not, he divided the Labour Party. He divided the MPs from the left to the centre, and he divided the voter base. I don't think this country is ready for a socialist government, and I guess that showed in the votes. I mean, they didn't do too bad in 2017. They forced a Conservative DUP coalition with Theresa May, but by 2019 the country was not ready for a socialist government. I think in 10 years time, maybe, if the trend keeps going the same way, where these 30 and 40 year olds are not turning conservative like they used to because they haven't got houses that they want to conserve and stuff like that, then maybe we could see more popular opinion for a socialist government. But in 2019, no way. And why? Well, the media campaign, the insane, you remember all these headlines, the insane attack on Jeremy Corbyn by the media. He's a terrorist sympathiser. He's going to take England back to the 1970s of 3-day weeks and union power. The power of those messages were massive. Even saying simple like the terrorist sympathiser thing, and not not wanting to threaten to use nuclear weapons. You got to remember, a lot of these sort of red wall voters, there's a lot of military, you know, people with kids and sons and daughters in the military and stuff. They take this stuff seriously, you know, they really do. And the older generation that remembers those dark days of the 70s are absolutely petrified of going back there. I'd say the European Union coming in, joining the European Union was probably one of the biggest things to solve that problem, but you know, hey ho. But yeah, the power of that was absolutely immense, and that just really started taking this Conservative Party into the stratosphere for that 2019. So you got Jeremy Corbyn, you got the media attack on him, you got the threat of going back to the 70s. That time as well, I'm not counting, I don't know, there is 10 here, but I'm not counting, I don't know where we are now. But next year, the rise of the SNP is massive for the Conservative Party, absolutely massive. That loss from Labour of the SNP and the rise of the SNP after the Brexit vote just sent them even further into the stratosphere. And that brings us pretty much up to date. But the last thing that I'd say is the strange popularity that was going on for a lot of these Tory MPs. Now, Boris Johnson alone, a lot of Labour voters held their nose when they went in and voted for Boris Johnson. Okay, you know, I'll give them that. They did hate him, but it seemed like the better of the two evils, Boris Johnson v Jeremy Corbyn. But a lot of people love Boris Johnson. All the memes, all the videos, all the gaffes, you know, coming out with cups of tea for reporters.
Go on, have a cup of tea.
Thank you very much.
There you go. There you go.
Do you regret your comments, sir?
I want you to have a cup of tea.
Do you remember this stuff all circling around on Facebook, on social media? The lovable fool. And they love it. They love him. And this was powerful, but not only Boris Johnson, but bloody Mog as well. Oh my God, this guy. But people love it. Mog of the Week. There's a YouTube channel, Mog of the Week, where Mog shouts at some SJW. God, this stuff was circling around like wildfire in the late 2010s. And that pretty much brings us up to date, and there's a plethora of reasons why people voted Tories. And like I say, I don't want to attack these people, because I understand, like I said, with the benefits rounds, I totally get why people get suckered into this. And if you are surrounded by it on newspapers, on TV, on your social media algorithms that are constantly pumping this poison into your brain on Facebook, I totally get why people get suckered into this stuff. But now I can't, because now with the Partygate situation and the corruption and the coronavirus and the PPE contracts and the test and trace and the lockdowns, and I can't see how there's any excuse now to be suckered in with the Conservative Party on the next election. You know, before, I hate it. I hate that people get suckered into this nonsense, but I understood how they did it. But now, no. I'm sorry, but if you vote for the Conservative Party in the next election, you need your head examined. You really do. If you're a working class person, you need your head examined. If you're voting for the Tories in the next election, you really do. Anyway, thoughts? What did I miss? Please spam my comment section on all the reasons that I missed, because I'm sure there's plenty more. Let us know in the comments if you've got any ideas for any similar videos on a similar vein. I'd love to know. Till next time, guys, take care.